Israel is seeking to appoint UK's Tony Blair as Gaza Humanitarian Coordinator. Do you know that some critics call Tony Blair as the Butcher of Baghdad? Sounds like someone that I would play Call of Duty with, but unfortunately, in the case of Tony Blair, it is not a username for a video game. No, this is due to his involvement with the war in Iraq. You know, the one that was started because the United States went to find weapons of mass destruction. And if you disagreed with it, you weren't a patriot, you're a bad person that had to be canceled. Did you guys remember that? Because I do. And apparently, it wasn't very good. It wasn't very good, especially not for the Iraqi civilians. Like, they suffered significant casualties under this operation. An operation for which, as I understand, up to date, no one has been held responsible. Like, you start a war for frivolous reasons, you lie to the public, you create a culture that any person that's anti-war is going to be labeled as close as possible as you can get away with, is going to be labeled as a terrorist sympathizer, and now, he's being rewarded. Yes, of course. Humanitarian coordinator. Now, a lot of people are worried, and rightfully so, with the fact that Europe, the United States, maybe even Canada, is going to receive Palestinian refugees. The question comes like, why aren't we receiving Israeli refugees then? Like, why can't Israel move to Europe if it's so convenient, if it's so easy to just displace people from their homeland, right? Like why can't we get Israelis? Oh, yeah, that would be anti-Semitic, wouldn't it? The other question is like, why don't other nations from around the conflict receive Palestinians? And the answer is that historically they did. You can do a little bit of fact-checking yourself and see what happened. I think like it even ended in a case with a prime minister getting assassinated. Like, it turns out that when they tried this in the past, they formed Marxist cells within the nation hosts that took them in. They started a state within a state. That's why other nations aren't willing right now to take Palestinian refugees. There is historical reasoning for it. They have tried it in the past. Now, I'm not saying that every refugee is like that, but again, take into account that Palestinians have voted for Hamas, right? Now, I'm not saying that every Palestinian civilian is a member of Hamas, but what I'm saying is that some of them may have sympathies given the fact that they voted that way. So if you are to take like large numbers of people, let's say you take 100,000, how many of them are you okay with having these types of sympathies? Is 10% a good number? Is 5%? Is 20%? Are we even going to have this conversation? Are we even going to have this dialogue? Well, apparently not. Apparently, the public doesn't need to concern itself with these non-important issues. And again, you know, like the question is like, why doesn't Israel take them? And apparently that may be an anti-Semitic question to ask. Like, how can you ask something like that? The same people that are like, well, it's anti-Semitic to suggest that Israel should take them are the same people that are saying that Europe or the United States or Canada should take them. How about no one takes them? How about they stay there? It's their land. Like, I wouldn't like to be taken away from my land, would you? You know, like, this is a part of conversation that doesn't even get brought up. Like, do people actually want to leave their ancestral land? No, apparently not. Okay, too many questions. I understand. Now, let me give you a quick trip down the memory lane. Like all of this is public. All of this is in the press. I'm not making anything up by myself. This is not my interpretation. You get a prime minister. The first ever female prime minister. Diversity. Margaret Thatcher. Excellent prime minister. I have to say, the left absolutely despises her. Did you notice that? Did you notice, like, there's no celebration for the first ever female prime minister? Britain has become feminist nation. Almost not a single peep about that. Why is it? Well, because she wasn't a Marxist. And the thing with her is that she had some strong policies. Not all of them were good, by the way. But no government actually does make only good policies. But in her case, she actually managed to create a good economy for the United Kingdom. And for the first time in generations, you had the working class able to afford their own homes. So now the working class had its living conditions increased dramatically. And because of this, the left, which at the time was pushing for class struggle, they were talking about the proletariat versus the bourgeoisie, they completely lost their electorate. No one would vote for them. Their arguments wouldn't make sense. So they were very worried because they would never win elections again. I mean, how can you advocate that you want to do what's good for the proletariat if the proletariat is already happy? And this also goes to show the old saying that the left is the party of the poor, while the right is the party of the rich. This is why the right wants you to become rich, so you vote for them, while the left wants you to become poor, so you vote for them. Makes sense, right? And in this situation, they realized, okay, well, what can we do? I mean, this can't go on. Like we're not going to get elected ever again. So they came up with the concept of diversity. And one of the advisors for Mr. Blair pointed out that the reason that they did it is to rub the right's nose in diversity, to make their arguments mute, right? So, like, they didn't want diversity because it will enrich Britain or it will make a better nation or any of that. No. Like, they literally want it. And they're very expressed. It's in the newspaper. They're actually saying why they did it. It's to rub the right's nose in diversity, right? So they shifted the arguments from the proletariat and the bourgeoisie, because now the proletariat was wealthy. They shifted it from white people and minorities, straight people and LGBT, men versus women. Like they just had the same talking points, right? Like the solution is the same: more government, more taxes, more bureaucracy, right? It's the same solution. It's just that now it's a different problem that they want to staple that solution for. And it also is a lot better because before, arguments like if you're against the working class, you're a class traitor, they don't really go that well. But now, misogynismus, transmophobismus, Islamophobismus. Like if you use these insults to people who criticize the fact that the taxes are raising, the fact that there's more bureaucracy, that your money is getting spent to foreign wars, it's very easy to shut down all criticism by using these cheap, underhanded tactics. So yeah, like this person that wanted to rub the right's nose in diversity, that started wars in the Middle East and displaced people from their homeland, is now being proposed to be the humanitarian coordinator from Gaza. It's comparable to putting Goebbels as the Ministry of Truth, or putting Saudi Arabia on the chair of the Women's Rights Commission. Right? Like it's kind of within that area. Let me know what you guys think, though, and as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.